Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Kushwave. Welcome to Handcuff Status Podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing poetic therapy, unpacking institutional barriers, what it means, and the various forms of injustice in our criminal justice system. We have an exclusive interview today. Augustine Obeng. He is an author, educator, social worker, and so much more. He will be sharing his experiences with us and story. Let's get right into it. Hello, brother. How you doing today?
I'm blessed, man. Blessed and highly favored.
It's good to have you, man. Before we get into the questions, could you please give us a little background about yourself?
Oh, man, where do I start? My right name is Augustine Nanakwame Obeng.
Okay.
Grew up in Jane and Finch. I originated from Ghana. I'm a lover of learning, a student of life. I love sports. I love music. I love my family, big on family, culture. And I love to inspire. Literature is very important to me, reading and learning and sharing what I learned. So hopefully throughout this course of this interview, we'll get to unpack some things and you get to know a deeper side of me.
Okay. Around when? Could you bring the mic a little bit closer to your mouth?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Perfect. Around when did you move to Canada?
Actually, I was actually born here.
Oh, you were born here?
Yeah. But my parents immigrated to Canada.
Okay.
So I was born here and grew up.
You grew up in Jane and Finch.
Yeah.
Palisades?
Nah, I'm from Southside.
Southside, okay.
Yeah, Southside.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I grew up in the South Side of Jane, 5 near the Fairway.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's all good. We're all in different spots all over the world, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's time for us to come together and pool our resources.
100%.
Doesn't matter which part of Jane and Finch we're from or which part of the world we're from. We just need to figure it out now at this point, right?
That's it, man. Ultimately, we're part of the human race.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. Regardless of your geographic location, your neighborhood, your country of origin, we're people at the end of the day. And when we realize that and we come together in a united front, we're better off for it, right?
Yeah, I always say once we choose humanity over a paycheck, the world would change.
Humanity over a paycheck.
Yeah, the world would change. But let's get into the song of the week.
Let's do it.
Top song of the week. And let's get into some of these questions, man.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Oh.
We go hand in hand. I wish that we never met. I don't wanna go to sleep if all around broken pieces. Never mind trying to find it. What I've been through can't deny it. I don't know if I'm floating. I'll be sinking, going everything overboard. I was chosen, no more hoping. I'll be thinking, no one if there's no
Everybody
way. Showing up and early, no face facing
There it is. 4N. That was 4N About You. You can check him out at 4N Music on all platforms. Okay, poetic therapy.
Yes, sir.
What is poetic therapy? What exactly is that?
Listen, poetic therapy is my modality in which I practice my therapeutic approach, right?
Mhm.
So there's something called narrative therapy, there's CBT, DBT. I often use CBT and narrative therapy, but I took a little twist to it, right? Me, I'm a writer. First book, Changing Lanes. Second book, Poetic Panther.
Mm-hmm.
But the process of writing for me is cathartic. It's therapy,
Mm.
where I'm able to express myself, my emotions, um, speak about some of my experiences or my revelations, and just talk about life itself.
So your writing is self-therapy to
Self
yourself.
therapy. That's what I did for myself. So I went through uh, when I completed my master's
Mhm.
in social work with a specialization in indigenous trauma and resiliency.
Yes. And I read that at the beginning of your book.
Yeah.
I had to research it. I didn't even know that was a thing that you can study.
Yeah. So it's actually a newer program with the University of Toronto.
Okay.
So the Masters of Social Work has always been there, but the specialization program was its first iteration, so the first year, right? So it was a partnership with the U of T, the OFIFC,
Mhm.
um, and Jane Middleton Ma's Institute, right? So that's where we did the indigenous trauma and resiliency. But essentially, what that was is building on indigeneity, especially because we live in Canada
Mhm.
and there's a large indigenous population. We're situated on their land, um, so we had the opportunity to do that. But through those learnings and learning about different modalities and different therapeutic approaches, um, I decided to create something that was a blend of what I love: music, art, literature,
Wow.
and I love hip hop, music, all of that, right? So that's the poetic piece. And then I learned therapeutic practices and approaches. So that's what I've done for myself. There's a saying that one of my professors says: you have to name it to tame it,
Mm.
right? So building the language to express yourself, not just saying mad, sad, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Digging deeper. That's something that I do in my practice. So I went through that process with myself, engage in poetic therapy with myself, and get into a place of healing. And healing is not a destination; it's a journey. It's a continuum. It keeps going, right? So that's what I do with my clients that I see in therapy.
Many times I associate poetry with metaphors,
Mm,
and I feel like I, f- I feel like that you're onto something, because when someone is in a room and you're talking to them as their therapist
yeah,
throughout 6 months, that individual is not going to remember every single thing that you've talked about.
facts.
But the metaphors and the poetry, those things can sink in, or they'll remember it at a different date. Oh, well, he said this metaphor or he said this poem, and it stimulates what you were trying to teach them at the time.
100%.
Right. So I've never, this is new to me.
Yeah,
Right. But after looking into it, it seems very, very helpful.
it's a beautiful process, to be honest. I encourage my clients to engage in writing, journaling,
Mhm.
expressing themselves, right? And they keep a journal, something that they write with. They engage in the art form of storytelling, whether they want to talk about their experiences or things they've seen in the world, or just their feelings and their emotions, right? So that process, and they keep that book with them. They keep those writings with them, and they can always go back to
Go back
refer
to
to it.
them.
And so when our time is done, they have something to refer to, where I give them the tips, the strategies, the coping mechanisms, the therapeutic approaches, the different strategies that they could use on themselves or with themselves, and also share that knowledge with their friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people are going through similar things, and if you have a solution or a formula of how to deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they in most cases through conversation they do pass it on. Yes.
100%. And that's the whole point for me. And my belief is, I don't want to see a client forever.
Mm.
The hope is that throughout our conversations and our relationship and our therapeutic connection, I would have imparted some strategies and things that you could add to your toolkit as you journey across in this world, right? So that's the essence of my practice and my belief and my, the framework in which I operate under.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In your experience, how does poetry help individuals express emotions that may be hard to articulate otherwise?
This, poetry is amazing. There's poetry in life. You see outside, you see the birds flying. That's poetry. You hear the wind whistling, the trees swaying back and forth. You listen to music. Just think about a time when you listen to one of your favorite songs. That song is your favorite song for a reason. Oftentimes, it's your favorite because you maybe had a good experience while listening to that song, or you connected with, maybe a partner that you were with, or overcoming a tough time in life. That song got you through, or whatever type of emotion. It's connected, and that's poetry. It's poetry in motion. So you hear that song, you read that book, you read that poem, you watch that movie. That's all poetry. The way I see life is poetry.
Wow.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your book, when I was reading it, it said something along the lines of, "You may look at me and think that I have it all, but you're just like every other man.
Facts.
And there's days that you don't feel up to it. And you get a message from your friend or you get a call and it gets you back into the zone." How are you able to stimulate these things that your friends are able to do for you into your patients? Like how?
Great question. For me, I really truly believe that no man is an island. We are all interconnected in some way, right? The universe, the world, everyone has a part to play. It's an ecosystem.
Yes.
Right? So in the days where I feel low, I'll get a call from a friend. They'll uplift me. And the day that maybe they feel low, someone else will call them. Or they'll watch a movie or listen to a song and it'll uplift them. And they move through the world with that positivity. So my duty or my goal in life is to leave positive impressions on people's lives, whether it's through conversation, whether it's through my books, whether it's through the music that I make or the music I listen to, or whatever interaction I have. I try to leave people with a positive impression so that they can move through this world in a positive light.
Awesome. That's great. How do you believe incarceration affects an individual's mental health?
Mental health is big, man. I think we should even talk about some of the reasons initially, some of the reasons that influence or some of the factors that influence people to get incarcerated.
Please.
You know
Please.
what I mean? Because there's a lot of different factors, socioeconomic, financial, emotional, things that contribute to why people become incarcerated.
You're absolutely right. And I think that we overlook those things and just look at the incarceration itself.
Yeah.
When really and truly generational trauma and just the way that systematically a lot of those who are incarcerated are just treated differently from an earlier age.
Yeah.
It's harder for them to react the way that we want them to react, or society, I should say, wants them to react when they're not absorbing information the same way everybody else is.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, for instance, like when we were talking about with the rat maze experiment, right? You have 100 rats in a good environment. You have 100 rats in a bad environment, right? The rats in the good environment, when you take them and put them in a maze, they're running right through the maze, no problem. The rats in a bad environment, you put them in the maze, they can't even pass the first section. So it's not really your genetics.
No. Conditions.
Conditions can also change or mold your
Yes.
behavior.
Definitely. Have an impact on that. So, like, even deeper, if you think about, you spoke about the system,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of systemic barriers and inequities that impact how people behave. Let's bring it back to colonialism,
Okay.
right? Colonialism, the slave trade, hierarchy, the bourgeoisie, the haves, the have-nots. Those type of things have existed centuries.
The house brother and the field brother.
Yes, you see what I'm trying to say. So they're, oftentimes people are pitted against each other, right? From birth, even.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think the house brother and the field brother
Yeah.
is what we're suffering from today with the black on black crime?
I think that contributes to it.
Yes.
I think, in regards to black on black crime and violence, right? I think it's a psyche. It's a mentality thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even what I really enjoy and like about, this whole movement that you got going on, the handcuff status, breaking the cycle, breaking the change, the mental. Bob Marley speaks about that.
Yeah.
You understand? And this is from a long time ago. You understand? Nothing's changed. Nothing. There's a saying that says nothing is new
Under the sun. Yes.
You understand? So there's certain things, okay, there's a guy. His name is Willie Lynch, right? He had a theory, right? Something about, I don't remember what it was, but he wrote about slavery and how to break people.
Yeah, Willie Lynch wrote the book on how to have good slaves.
How to have good slaves, right? So you break their mind.
Yeah.
When you break their mind and you have them have people thinking in such a way, your mind affects how you move. And that's speaking about mental health and being right within. Lauryn Hill says, how you going to win if you ain't right within?
Yep.
You understand? So you have to guard your mind. The mind is the most important
It's
thing,
very important.
right? So there's a lot of factors. So, and we were speaking about this earlier, the importance of history.
Yes.
Knowing your history.
Yes.
Knowing your origins. How are you going to know where you're going if you didn't know where you came from?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You won't even know where you are right now.
You're lost. You're lost. And I feel like, there's a lot of distractions in the world. A lot of glittery things that distract people from getting to the source.
Yep. Guaranteed that, and it even that's also by design. The basketball games, the hockey games, the football games, the concerts. Everything is a distraction from you not thinking. Take his mind away from him actually thinking. Yeah. When you sit down and you think about things and you try and put things into perspective, and it's hard for it to make sense, then you start to ask questions.
That's the most important part. There's a book that I read. It's called As a Man Thinketh, So He Doeth, or something. That's like there's a line. I forget how it goes, but the book is called As a Man Thinketh. And what I gained from that book and many other books that I read is the importance of taking time to be still. We live in a world that we're bombarded and inundated with so much information. You don't know left, right, and then it doesn't even help. You got the social media, you got the phones and things that, this, that.
There's so much going on.
Too much hyper-stimulated. Take time. And that's why they say the importance of prayer, meditation, walking, being in nature. And those are some of the things that I speak about to my clients about therapy. It's important.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
So in therapy, do you encourage people to do grounding?
Of course.
Yeah?
Take off your shoes and stand in the sand or in the grass for a minute. In the morning time when you wake up, take a cold shower and take a shower and then end with a little bit of coldness. Then go outside and catch some sun.
Wow.
You're indoors all day. You're in the car all day. Go outside, breathe.
Fresh
That's
air.
something that we do all the time. We start off each session by breathing. Breathe. Just simple breath. Okay, we're going to do it right now. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So it's 5. You inhale for 5. You hold for 3. Exhale.
Okay.
There's no more breath in you. You ready?
Yeah.
If you could go inhale for longer, then do it. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, go. Hold for 3. See? It's euphoric, right?
I feel so much like calmer.
So we do that a few times to begin the session. I ask them, how you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 today? That's where we start. And at the end of the session, we end with breathing. And I ask you, how you feeling now on a scale of 1 to 10? What can you do in your life, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, to better yourself in each of those 5 quadrants or 5 sections? How do you feel now? Okay, this is how I am. You do an honest assessment of where you are now in each of those categories. Be real with yourself.
Which is very hard.
Right? And then when you're done, after, the next task is, what can I do? Think about 3 to 5 things that you can do in each of those 5 buckets to better yourself. Actually think, like literally think, what can I do? Maybe health is a thing. Maybe I should go for a walk.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm talking on the phone, maybe I should just not lay on my bed. I should maybe walk
While I'm on the phone. Little things.
Maybe I should drink some water.
Because you haven't drank any in 2 days.
You sometimes say? So there's certain things, on that note, I'm going to have a sip of water. There's certain things that you could do to, like, you know, it's a complex thing. And I feel like, above all, one of my favorite poems is a poem called Yourself to Blame, right?
Yes.
And the title is kind of like, whoa. But essentially what that poem is about the importance of accountability.
The importance of accountability.
Accountability. Take accountability for your actions or your inaction. Because ultimately, I think it's Newton, his law. It says for every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You're accountable. We all had a choice. If we got to wake up in the morning, we were blessed to wake
You're
up
absolutely
in the morning.
right.
What are you doing with your day?
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
And the decision that you make leads to another decision that you have to make. That leads to another decision that has to be made.
You see what I'm saying?
So if you make good decisions along the way, the decisions become easier.
Yes, and they compound.
The compound, yes.
You understand? But I'm not gonna be naive and say there aren't factors that impact people's decision making skills or the environment where they started, the condition where they started off at.
You know what? We're gonna hold right there at factors that impact individuals' skills, behavior, everything. I'm gonna do the sponsor of the day.
Okay.
And we would like to take the time to shout out Shams Pot. Good food, great service. If you need catering for an event, check him out. Shams_pot on Instagram. And we're talking with different clients, right?
Yeah.
What do you see is one of the main factors that is holding them back from whatever they're trying to accomplish?
I would say the main ingredient or the main factor is self-love and knowledge of self.
Self-love and knowledge of self.
You know, oftentimes, the world is cruel at times. You know what I mean? So, and there's a lot of factors that take away from, you know, parents or caregivers or community members being kind to one another, right? But most importantly, I feel like if you haven't, you know, had the opportunity to receive that kindness from people outside, external from yourself, it's important to learn how to be kind to yourself.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. To really look in the mirror. I think Michael Jackson says, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Look in the mirror and actually do an honest assessment with yourself. Forget about everyone else. Look at yourself and be like, yo, okay, listen, this is where I'm at right now. Okay, cool. Maybe I'm not where I want to be. Maybe I had visions and dreams of doing something else, right? I'm not there yet. It's okay. From you have life, you have an opportunity. And like we talked about, the baby step, incremental, 1% better each day to get there. So that's the basis.
Yeah, nothing happens overnight.
Nothing overnight. So and once you make those little steps every day, okay, I want whatever the goal is. And that's another thing, having a goal.
You have to set a goal and have a plan for the goal.
You need a goal. You need a goal.
And these are not things that are taught.
No.
Especially in our communities. you're not taught to make a goal that you can actually achieve.
Smart goals.
Like,
you have to set something in motion. Like, and honestly, it's important to actually write it down.
Yes.
Write it down. The phones are here, cool. No, take a pen.
No, you have to write it down.
Take a paper and write it down. Write it down, and then you look at it. You say. There's a saying you speak truth to power. Positive affirmations. Look, when I used to play ball, I wanted to go to the NBA. Obviously, I'm 5'11". I'm not that tall. All these things. I wasn't that good. Shout out to my boy Junior Kadugan and all these guys. You know what I mean? I was getting it in. All my guys, but those guys that was their story. Amazing, great for them, right? But I had a goal. So I'd wake up every morning, go to practice. I made sure I try to eat properly. I made sure I drank a lot of water. I made sure I stretch. And I played my ball. I had my...
Yeah, because your goal was you were going to go.
That was my goal.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to have a goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's important to have a goal and work progressively to get it and write it down. And when you get there, actively work to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to.
Write it out, man. And actually, another part of that, too, of goal setting is actually thinking through the steps, visualizing yourself getting there. Visualize the life that you see for yourself. You know what I mean? Take time, close your eyes, and actually see yourself there. And do the research. Find people that are in those spaces and places where you want to be. Positive mentorship.
That's very important.
It's important. It's okay to ask for help, bro.
We all need help.
Yes,
everybody got help.
Come on, bro.
That's made it anywhere.
You know what I mean? It's okay. Ask. Asking you shall receive. Ask. It's okay. What's they gonna say? No.
Do you get the opportunity to talk to a lot of brothers who are incarcerated in your therapy?
I haven't had the opportunity to connect. I would love the opportunity to connect.
Because I really want to see. Yeah, man. I really want to see what's going on in their mind from a psychological point of view. You know, because it can't be. Look how bad it is out here.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Out here is very bad. And then now we have these brothers in there, just 10 times worse than out here.
Yeah.
They do their time, we release them, and we expect them to do better than how they were before we sent them to a worse environment.
Listen, the institutionalization is real. The fact that I believe, the prison industrial complex, the prison system, and the institution need to do a better job in rehabilitation, right? And what I mean by that is actually giving folks the opportunity and the skills to then, when they're able to come outside, be able to thrive. And you're outside now. Go ahead and figure it out. What? They lost X amount of time of life.
Yeah.
Things have constantly updating and changing with technology. Think about it.
They're behind in time.
In a lot of areas. There's a movie.
It's horrible.
Redemption, right?
Pardon?
There's a movie. Sorry to cut you off, boss.
No, sorry to cut you off. I don't want to cut you off.
My bad.
What's it called?
Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption.
I used to watch this movie with my students and when I was teaching law in high school, right? It's about the institute. Morgan Freeman's in it and a couple other actors.
Yes.
Okay. It's about prison life and someone that's wrongfully convicted or accused and does time. Long story short, there's one particular character. He's an old man, right? He's been in prison for a long time, like upwards of 25 years.
Okay.
He ends up coming out. When he went to jail, there was no like cash registers. Like they had to punch it they had to write it down on paper.
Yeah.
He came outside. They're like, what's going on? They had phones and fast cars and everything changed. And it's like, what do you expect?
And how do you adapt?
So what are the programs that are keeping people up to date with what's going on, informed, making sure they're getting right within? Those things are necessary. And then creating actual pathways for folks to come out and not end up going back to doing the same things that they were doing.
Like the same way they have pathways to go in?
Yes.
They need to have pathways that you never
reintegrate.
You never go back in. You know, like the school to prison pipeline.
Crazy.
Like that's ridiculous that they even have these kids who get into these little situations at school, which school is another another jungle in itself, right? You have to deal with so many different parts of growing up. You're going through puberty. You have people being mean, you bullies, you have affection for people. There's so much stuff going on as a little child. And we throw them in there.
And say, figure it out.
Figure it out. They do something that you don't want them to do, right? While they're figuring it out.
And you penalize
and
them
then you
for that.
penalize them for that, and you have them on this list, and he does it again. Oh, look, he did it again. But you're not doing anything to really set them away from that.
Yeah.
You know, okay, you send them to he's not good for this school. You send him to behavior school. It's just like the prisons. You send them to schools where a whole bunch of kids that have behavior issues, and like, I don't understand. Well, I want to ask you this question. How does poetic therapy different from other forms of therapy when dealing with trauma?
Okay. Trauma is very important. Everyone has trauma, right? There's something called a trauma line. There's another thing called an ACE test, an adverse something experience, right? Anyways, so how does trauma relate to poetic therapy, and how does it differ? It's all the same. It's just a different spin on it, because it's something called narrative therapy, where people talk, they do conversation, you do journaling. But me, I want people to talk, not just writing about their day.
Okay, so then how does that differ from art therapy?
Art therapy, poetry is an art form. So it's just, you know what I mean? But I'm focused on lyrics, like words, and playing with wordplay, right? But also, there's poetry in art. It's all about expression. How do you express yourself, right? But I love music, and I love, like you said, similes and metaphors, and creating witty things, witty words, witty sayings, and finding creative ways to express yourself. So I try to encourage my clients to think deeper, find different words to express certain things, read poems, and decipher, okay, this poem right here, what do you think it meant to you? How did it make you feel? How do you relate it to your life? Can you relate it to your life? If that doesn't relate, what's something in your life that kind of relates to that? Matter of fact, scrap it. Write your own poem.
Write your own poem.
How did you feel today? Put that in a prose. You know what? Scrap that. Make a track. Instrumental. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Let's let them get it out.
Express. Because oftentimes people have a lot of balled up, pent up emotions and aggression, and fear, doubt, angst within yourself, and you don't have a positive outlet to get it out. You know what I mean? And that's important. So that's what I do with poetic therapy. I create a safe space, a safer space, and a braver space for folks to express themselves in a healthy way and find positive creative outlets to, deal with, unpack, and then positively move forward with their traumas.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great, because a lot of people want to express themselves, but they're afraid to.
Fear is a big thing.
And it's not really that they don't know how to. It's they're scared of the reaction that they're gonna get from other people when they're expressing.
It's true.
What they want to express, and you dropping a beat and saying, "Yo," off the top of your dome, now they don't have time to think about it.
It's real time. It's right now, presently, in the present moment. Express yourself. Let's go.
Yeah.
And we laugh a little bit. They're like, okay, no, I'm nervous. No, it's okay. It's just me and you.
I could see that working. And like what I was saying before, I understand now why metaphors and poems would stick. Like, that's like a node, right? That's like a node that they're gonna always
locked in.
Yeah, like they're always that node is always gonna be there. That day, me and dropped the beat, and I never did that before in my life, and
a poetic experience, and that's what I work diligently to create poetic experiences. Whether it's the events that I throw, whether it's the connections that I have with my clients, whether it's the music I write, whether the music I listen to, the places I go, I want people to positively have a poetic encounter with me. It's beautiful, and you'll remember that moment. That moment, how did that make you feel? Right? It was an experience, and it was poetic. And that's what Poetic Panther is all about, man.
That's awesome, man. Yo, go check out that Poetic Panther. It's really good. Yeah, there it is. Check that out.
Yeah, man.
How do institutional systems, such as the justice system, impact an individual's ability to engage with creative or therapeutic outlets? Like, in the sense of someone got, released, right? Why would they choose poetic therapy, or what would be good for them what are the pros of choosing poetic therapy over other forms of therapy for them?
Ultimately, you got to do what works for you. Right? That's number one. I also feel like representation matters. Seeing a therapist or someone that looks like you, that understands, that's been through similar situations that you've been through, you know what I mean? That understands the pressures, the societal pressures, the stereotypes, the discrimination, things that, that I've had to overcome, that we all face in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
So someone that could relate.
Relatability is key. Think about your favorite artist, favorite music artist, or favorite basketball player, or favorite sports person, or favorite lawyer or activist, or whatever, your favorite whatever it is. Why do you like them? Because you maybe can relate to them.
Maybe. Or you see something in them that you see. Yes.
So that's the relatability factor. I see that. For example, Kobe's my guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I love Kobe. You know why? His tenacity, his hard work, and his diligence.
His ethics.
Attention to details. Work ethic is on 100.
Yeah.
Expecting nothing less.
Yeah, Kobe was a problem.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I relate to him. So I'm wearing, part of the reason why I'm wearing purple, I love Kobe 24 all day.
Purple's the king's color, man.
Royalty, loyalty.
And your work ethic is look at all the things that you've accomplished too, right? So I see where you're I see how you're pinning those two together. That you see things in people that you see in yourself, you naturally gravitate.
And also, to add to that point, I admire and look up to and want to model people that I see are great, that I see as great. So I would watch a documentary, read a book, listen to a podcast, listen to music of people that I see, wow, he's onto something or she's onto something. What is she doing? That's amazing. Who are they? How did they get there? Research, right?
Yes.
And then I pick the wheat from the chaff. I take the good parts and I adapt it to myself and add it to my wheel, my toolkit, and move forward progressively, right?
Yes.
So I believe heavily in the edification of self and progress, motion.
And I think that that's not something that is pushed onto us at a young age, right? We need to force ourselves to read more and learn more, because education is really what bridges the gap. It's really what bridges the gap of just understanding a situation and knowing how to maneuver it.
Navigate. It literally, I tell people all the time, reading, literacy, and not just reading, comprehension and pondering, reflecting. Reading, it changed my life. You can go somewhere, you could be right here, but you could go somewhere. Read someone's book. Like I read I read so many books. When I was in high school, shout out to my pops. He gave me a book called Think Big by Ben Carson, grade 11. It's actually a purple book.
Ben Carson.
He's he went to Johns Hopkins. He was like a neurosurgeon.
Oh.
He performed like the first a successful surgery on Siamese twins or something like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, he came from the inner city, I think in Chicago, I believe. Didn't have much and found a way. He worked. He couldn't even read at one point, I believe. And he found a way. You understand?
He taught himself how to read?
Not taught, but he
found a way.
Gifted.
Okay.
but he worked his butt off.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So for me, I relate to that story because I'm Ghanaian, right? My parents spoke Tree to me when I was a kid. They spoke English as well, but my English wasn't the strongest. You understand? My English wasn't the strongest. I had to learn how to read. I remember they put me in a program in Virgo. They put me in, I was grade 2, and they made me read with the kindergartens. And I thought I was doing something like, oh yeah, you know, I'm a sick reader. I'm gonna help the little kids read. No, when I became a teacher, I understood what they were doing. My reading wasn't up to par, so it allowed me to practice reading with little kids,
Mm-hmm.
the younger kids, so I could build up that courage to read aloud and et cetera, right? So for me, the fact that 20, whatever, how many years later, I wrote 2 books and pending is like, personally, with myself, that's a major accomplishment.
That's good though, because that they did that for you.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they don't do those things.
Exactly. I had some great teachers.
A lot of times they don't do those things. That's the next thing that we struggle with is having good teachers. But just like what you said, sometimes you have to see something in someone for you to gravitate to them. And as kids, when we're in these schools, we're not seeing that in these teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for us to gravitate to them and fully learn, you know?
100%.
That's why I'm happy you're doing what you're doing. I'm happy that you're out here educating and trying your best to bring everybody involved and include everybody in this learning process.
It's important, man. It's important.
What kind of support do you think prisoners and rehabilitation centers need to make, such as like programs like Poetic Therapy? Is there anything else you think that would be good in a rehabilitation center?
Definitely. But I think it should even start in the schools.
You should
From
start in the
before.
schools
Because,
before you have to rehabilitate.
yes, be proactive rather than reactive.
So what do you think we could do in the schools before it gets it's too late?
Okay, easily. There's a number of things that I believe in my belief that could impact and positively influence the young people. Number one, in schools, you have oftentimes maybe a class, 35 kids, one class, no social worker, no community, no social service worker, nothing. The social workers there's one social worker for like 4 schools. Each school has about 1,700 kids in the school. How much social work and how much can support, psychosocial, emotional support can be given?
You're right.
It doesn't make sense.
There should be a social worker per class.
If that.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or there should, at the bare minimum, be a social worker stationed at every school. At least.
Bare minimum, yes.
Bare minimum. You understand? Why is it that alone for me is mind-boggling, and you wonder why.
Do you think the social worker would be more instrumental than the guidance counselor?
Of course, because the guidance counselors, especially the way they have it set up now, in some or most schools or school boards, they're just worried about attendance and making sure you have enough credits to move forward.
To move forward.
Move forward. It's not to thrive, just to move forward.
Get them out of here.
Like a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
There's the education system is archaic. Okay, it's so old. It's based on Fordism. They were our current structure. Why hasn't the education system changed in the way it's approached from when it was instituted, when it first started? It's meant to create folks that are just workers, that are not thinkers, that are not free thinkers. You're just gonna follow, regurgitate what I say, and then you could do that.
You pass.
Why don't they teach financial literacy? Why don't they teach emotional intelligence? Why don't they teach the importance of knowing yourself? Why don't they teach the mental health? Like, why isn't that a course?
Why don't they teach the law that they're gonna lock
you up by? Like, you don't
Yo, what is going?
Civics in grade 10. That's a half a credit. Careers in
half
civics.
A credit. You're right. You're right.
Half a semester. What are you talking about? So when you talk about, oh wow, maybe it's not a surprise why things are happening. It's by design.
It's by design.
So let's be real and have open and honest conversations.
I think that's what needs to happen. Why hasn't the history books been updated?
Bro, I went to high school the other day. I spoke to some young people, right? In York region, and I was looking through. I do it all the time, but like at one of the schools I went to, I saw the same textbook I used in high school.
The same
The
textbook.
same Nelson, whatever it was. I'm like, what is going on? And it's the same dingy textbook, old, all these things. I'm like, what is going on? I've been out of school for high school for 20 years, bro.
They're not updating anything.
Because they don't want you. They want you to operate on Windows 97 when they're using AI.
Yeah, and keep you on the conveyor belt.
Come on, bro. It's crazy to me. So to answer your question, what are some of the things, maybe more social workers, more social service workers, more support? I would say also having the opportunity, especially for young folks that are incarcerated or in conflict with the law, having the opportunity for folks that have been in conflict with the law to speak to them and advise them. But instead, there's a bunch of red tape. They cannot come to the school, whatever. Do something virtual. Make them actually share their experiences. Because just because you made one mistake in your life, that is not the sum of a man or a person. You can change. And to think about it, the honest reality is, if everybody was judged based on that one worst thing that they ever did in life and held accountable for that one worst thing they ever did, what kind of world would it be? I believe in grace. I believe in rehabilitation. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in growth.
Everyone can change. You're absolutely right, bro.
You understand?
You change the environment, and so much could change.
You feel me?
You're seeing different things. Your reactions will change.
100%.
Right?
Change the conditions in which these students are placed in, and I guarantee you the outcomes will change. I guarantee.
Is there anything that you would like to say before we wrap it up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. What I like to say, listen, this is my camera right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, viewers, anybody that's here, that's taking the time to listen to this podcast, I want you to support the movement. You know what I mean? This is an amazing movement, Handcuff Status, bringing awareness to important issues that are going on in the city and beyond in the world, the human condition, and take time to educate yourself. You know what I mean? And connect with spread love, connect with the people, connect with your elders, have honor and respect for them. They've been here, they've seen it, they've done it, they've witnessed it. You understand? So you're try to better yourself. Take time to better yourself. I believe those who read are those who lead. Take time to read. Find a passion, something that you like, and read. And most important, be kind with yourself. You know what I mean? Be kind to yourself, and just believe, man. Just really believe you can really do it. You know, it's hard. Everybody's going through it. You know what I mean? It's the world that we're living in, but you can actually really overcome. Just surround yourself with positive people, like-minded people that are thinking and moving in the same direction. And if they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So if you're in a certain situation or certain mindset, you might have to reset and change your lane and go somewhere else and think differently, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is. And if you have a chance, you can check me out on all platforms. You know what I mean? Check out my book. My name is Augustine Obeng, straight like that. Poetic Panther, Changing Lanes. Yeah, man, I'm just a brother just changing lanes, man, poetically. So thank you for taking the time to rock it with us and listen to this podcast. And keep supporting, man. If you see someone doing great things, support, man. Don't be a hater, man. Be a lover. You know what I'm saying? Spread love.
Let me get one of your signatures, brother. You could choose any one of these colors.
Yes, sir.
Going in the books right now.
Let's get it. So I can write it anywhere?
Anywhere you want, you sign.
Write my name?
You of course, brother. We need Obeng up there. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the time, man.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean?
It was a pleasure having you. It was a pleasure having you, brother.
This is lit.
Very intelligent brother. Very, very intelligent brother. Augustine Obeng. We would like to take the time to thank Augustine Obeng coming out and schooling me on this poetic therapy. I didn't even know that it was a thing, but it seems like it's doing wonders. And I thank you for coming out here and telling us exactly what's going on with it and showing us that there's other ways that we could attack situations that's in our life. Like there's other ways to go about the problems, And poetry, music, art, all of that is one of it. So for all those incarcerated, remember freedom is a must. Free all the lifers. Shout out Private Spaceship. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us at Handcuff Status on all platforms. And if you have any questions, please hit us up. Never forget our real mission. We're trying to break the chains of injustice.